Well, hello, success women. It's your girl, Shawn LaRae, all the way from the West Coast. And today, I want to tell you Gulf Coast women, you West Coast women, you East Coast, Southwest, all around the globe. I want to talk to you today about purposeful persistence. Yes, purposeful persistence. Now, we can as women, and we have been persistent about a lot of things. So if we are at the grocery store and the person in front of us is taking a long time and we've got to hurry to get somewhere, we can be persistent about speeding them along, right? And if there's something that we don't like that has put itself before us, we can be very persistent about moving that out of the way, right? We act with purpose. Now, I want to tell you today about the times when our persistence is not purposeful. And that might be after we have had something that has gotten in the way. Life can go along smoothly, and then all of a sudden there can be these hiccups. And when we have those hiccups, we sometimes don't know how to come back and how to get to the next level of where it is that we're trying to go. I know many of you out there are entrepreneurs, and so you have started a business. And when you start a business, there's a lot that goes into that. And sometimes that can be overwhelming, and that alone can make you stop. Stop right in your tracks, right when things seem to be going along smoothly. We can get in our heads sometimes. And when we do that, it slows down our momentum. I want to help you today with some tools to keep yourself on track, to keep you moving, to get past the past. Because sometimes the things that have happened to us in our lives leave us stuck. They take away our confidence. They water down our mojo. So you might have moved through the world easily and with a groove, but then something happened that got in the way, of how you saw yourself, how you viewed yourself when you looked in the mirror. Maybe you were confident and unstoppable until you came across that one thing that happened, that obstacle that got in the way, that thing that you can't get out of your head, that part of your past that keeps creeping up. And when you take those steps forward, it somehow creeps forward to meet you there. And when you take those deep breaths and you step forward some more, there's that thing again, right behind you, following. And so now you're met, neck and neck. And that can be daunting. Obstacles can get in the way and keep you in your place. So how do you move out of the place where you feel like you've been glued down? When you feel like there's just no movement this way and no movement that way, and you're just kind of right here. Well, that's what I'm here to tell you about today. You see, I'm a licensed marriage family therapist, and I am a transformational performance coach. My vision for you lights up when your vision for you might be in the dark. I have the vision that you might not be able to see. And I like to help people move past those limiting beliefs that have you stuck, in your past, that have you stuck in your head, just plain stuck. When there definitely is a need to move forward, that's when you call me. So, as a transformational performance coach, I want to help you transform Yes, transform. You remember those toys that your kids have that 1 minute they're one thing and the next minute there's something else? Well, this transformation may take a little bit more than a moment, but I want you to know and to believe with all your heart in what is possible for your life. You see, sometimes, like I said, we have those obstacles. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. Don't judge me. Toledo is an amazing place to grow up. It's very family oriented. It's very safe. And then it can be kind of boring. So when I graduated from high school, I moved and I went to New York City and I went to NYU. Well, once I got a taste of the bright lights, I did not move back to Toledo, Ohio, and I stayed in New York. New York was a beautiful place, and it was a place that I grew to love. But there were obstacles along my course in New York. So one of the things that happened to me was I was a dance teacher, and I was going to teach dance to my beautiful little kiddies at a school in Harlem. And on the way there, I took a taxi. Well, that taxi took me all over New York as though I were a tourist. And when I got to my destination and paid him without a tip, he didn't like that. And so in his anger, he began to take off before your girl was out of the cab. So I was dragged 2.5 feet, and the wheel of the taxi rolled over the calf of my leg. Well, I was in the hospital for 30 days. I was in traction. When I emerged from there, I was in a wheelchair, then on crutches. I gained 100 pounds in a year and a half. Now, there's a little piece that I didn't tell you about my history, but I'm a former beauty queen. Yes, I was Miss Black Ohio, and I competed in the Miss Black America pageant, and I was the bathing suit winner, and all of that. But in a year and a half, my bathing suit body got 100 extra pounds tacked on to it. Now, that in itself was enough to make me pretty sad and devastated. But I got up from there and I got better, and I started working out, and I lost 60 pounds. And I decided that I could finally get back into a taxi. Well, I did that, and I went to the mall with a friend who had come to visit. And as we were returning from the mall, our taxi was hit from behind by a truck. And that truck careened into a pole. And I was back in the hospital. And I gained the 60 pounds that I had lost back again. Well, as if that weren't enough, I got better and I worked out and I lost 60 pounds. And then I went to Harlem to get my hair braided, kind of like it is today. And as I crossed the street to get into the subway on a misty, drizzly day, a produce truck turned left onto me. And I was hit and went up in the air and landed flat on my back and was unconscious. And one man, thank God for him, saw this happen, and he came running and he stopped the traffic because the light a block ahead had changed and might have run me over. So those are obstacles that I had to overcome. Well, the doctor said I would never dance again. You just ought to see me on the dance floor. And I had to learn how to step back into who God made me to be, because those obstacles took away my mojo. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can get by when your mojo is taken, and how you can become purposefully persistent. So I'm going to share my slides with you now. So bear with me just 1 second. All right, purposeful persistence. Find the power to push past the past. So I want to talk to you about the objectives. Today, I want to help you to push past the resistance that occurs when you have to step outside of your comfort zone toward your purpose. I want to help you organize your thoughts to overcome the fear and self-sabotage that keeps you stuck. I want to help you peel back the layers that keep you from stepping into your who-you-are-ness and live in your God-appointed purpose. Now, I make up words, so stay with me on this. Your who-you-are-ness is that special something that God gave to only you. That is your authentic self. That is the you that you were born to be on this planet in all your special and uniqueness. Now, purpose. The word purpose itself is a noun, and it is the reason for which something is done or created. It's the reason for why something exists. So your purpose is the reason that you exist. It is the purpose. It is an intention or an objective. Sometimes it is a verb and it's an action word, and that's the way it's used then. For instance, God has allowed suffering, even purposed you for it. And what that means is that you have been purposed to do the very thing that you were created for. And sometimes we have problems and obstacles and things that get in our way, but we can always move forward. Persistence, also a noun. A firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. That's why your persistence is so important. That's why persistence is that dogged determination, the tenacity, the resolve, that no matter what comes up, you will keep moving forward. Now, I want to talk to you about the power that lives inside of you that sometimes you might forget about when things get in the way, when the clouds come and it looks dark and it looks bleak and it doesn't look like you can take another step. You got to pull on your power. Now, power is the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially with faculty or quality. And so when you act in your power, you own that power, and you work so hard that the quality of what you are putting forth is your very best. That's when you're acting in your power. It is the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. You need power when you are trying to get someone to see something your way. Whatever your brand is, you need power when you are convincing your audience that your brand, you are the best choice for them to make. So in your business, you must have power. In your personal life, you must have power. And you mustn't be afraid to use it. Now, I'm a God girl, so I always like to look to the Bible. Now, power in the Bible has a deeper meaning than what we can imagine. It is also frequently used in the book as a description of strength of mind. And that's what persistence is. You must employ the strength of your own mind, your moral qualities, your faith to persist purposefully. Now, remember, I talked about obstacles. Certainly, I have had my share, and I'm certain that you have as well. An obstacle is a thing that blocks your way or prevents or hinders your progress. And I'm here to tell you that you can move past your obstacles by changing your mindset. Sometimes obstacles are a good thing because obstacles make you build up the muscles that it takes to move past whatever gets in your way. It's the voice inside your head that believes what someone says about you. And you then can be your greatest obstacle. But that obstacle can be the very thing that gets you up off the couch and gets you moving when you've had enough. Sometimes one of the biggest obstacles that we have is our negative resistance. Now, resistance is the refusal to accept or comply with something, the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. Now, you know how resistant we can be when we don't like or want something. We can resist forward movement with that same energy. And I'm here to help you today understand that you don't have to do that. There are ways to use that resistance and let it propel you forward. Now, if you have a rubber band and you pull back on it, it's pulling, it's pulling, it's pulling. That's resistance. But if you let it go, it propels forward. And that can be you. In order to get there, sometimes we need a little push. And I like to make acronyms. So push for me means P, position yourself for greatness. You, uncover your dreams. Look deep inside you. What is it that you want to do? What do you dream about? What gets you excited? S, step into your who-you-are-ness. Again, there's my word. That is your authentic self. That's who you were created to be. And H, harness your fears and go. Because that is your birthright. Sometimes we have to get a little bit uncomfortable. And we don't like that. We don't like to feel what discomfort feels like. But in order to reach your purpose, it's going to be uncomfortable. We have to be willing to get out of our comfort zone. We have to be willing to do something different. Be willing to acknowledge your fear, but don't sit in it. Don't stand there. Let it go. I use a lot of little words that are my words. So I like to say, roll with it. So you have to be willing to roll with it. If it feels uncomfortable, if it doesn't feel quite right, just roll with it. Because soon it will fit. And you will feel like you're in the place where you belong. And sometimes we have to be willing to just be still. Now, discover your purpose on purpose. Sometimes your passion is your purpose. For a long time, I didn't like to sit still and do crafts. But when my grandmother passed away, she left me a lot of beads. And a friend of mine said, let's go down to the jewelry district. I want to make some jewelry. Now, I didn't want to make jewelry. I don't sit still, remember? But I found that sitting still and making jewelry was a passion of mine. But in that, you must seek knowledge. Because if you're going to do something different, you have to learn about it. So be willing to ask questions. You got to test drive it. And then evaluate it. See how it fits. See how it feels. And if it feels good, then do it. Now, there are a lot of things that get in our way. And sometimes, as I mentioned before, it's our own head. It's our thoughts. Oh, our thoughts. We can so easily overthink things. We can figure out why it won't work. We can come to all the reasons that it's not a good idea. Somebody else has done it. I've never done that before. What if I'm not good at it? Don't overthink it. When you do that, you could end up on Lost Street, Confused Boulevard, Unsure Avenue, Unclear Parkway, Perplexed Road. You don't want to do that. Take time to process. Process your thoughts, get them organized so that you can be strategic. Move one step at a time. And as you're going along, recognize what your needs are and then organize those needs. Now, even at this part of the process, we can get stuck. You know how you're going along on a road and all of a sudden the car stops and you're stuck? Sometimes what causes us to be stuck as human beings is confusion, anxiety, depression, fear, nerves, stress. Those are all lies. You can move past that by shifting your direction. You know, if we have gone along on a path for so long and nothing is happening, we can't see our way clear, there's nothing there, it's okay to shift your direction. Because if you're going somewhere and there's a brick wall, you're not going to keep walking into it. You're not going to keep running into it. You're not going to keep bumping into it. You can very easily shift your direction. And sometimes that can be the best thing that ever happened to you. I had to shift my direction. I was at a job for a major jewelry concern. I had been there 10 years. And something happened and I found out about it. It wasn't good. I got fired. Oh, but don't cry for me, because I shifted my direction. And because I shifted my direction, I went back to school and got my master's degree. I was 50 years old. So I don't want to hear, well, I'm too old. It's too late. It is never, ever too late. Because at 50, I started school to get my master's degree. By 53, I was done. And I am now in my own private practice. You know, you have to collect hours. So I worked and worked and I collected those 3,000 hours. And I took that test. And then I went into private practice. Now I'm a business owner. Now I'm a business owner with employees. But had I not shifted my direction, had I listened to those little voices that said, no, you can't, don't do that, you're too old, I wouldn't be living my best life right now. So be willing to shift directions and keep moving forward. Leave the past in the past. If I were to lament and worry about all the places that have fired me in my life, I wouldn't get off the couch. So I invite you to not let those things define you. You get to define you, and you get to define you as your best self, moving forward, always moving forward. Now let's talk about the onion effect. This is the part where you get to peel back the layers. Because sometimes where all the good, juicy stuff is right there in the middle. Maybe your best self lives inside the layers of pain, the layers of hurt, the layers of deception, the layers of setbacks, the layers of, oh my goodness, whatever else. All those layers can be pulled back for you to get to your own who-you-are-ness. In the center of everything is your core, My trainer tells me when she's screaming 50 pulses with my weight as I pulse from my core to strengthen my core. She tells me that that is what will balance me and keep me strong and help me to stand straight, erect, and in place and in my presence. So I invite you to peel back all those layers and get to your core, because that's where the good stuff is. At the core of you is your light, it's your love, it's your life. So don't waste time on the fringes. Go right to your core. Now I want to talk to you about my triple R formula, because my triple R formula helps you to land in your who-you-are-ness. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from those obstacles, from those mistakes, from those oppressive issues, those things that have come and gotten in your way. That's your bounce. So I want you to reach for your resilience. Now, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do all of the things that I'm telling you to do today. And I want you to not ever forget your self-care, because that is what keeps you strong so that you can do what you do. If you are a person that is in the helping profession like I am, don't forget that you have to take care of yourself. If you're a mom taking care of your family, don't forget you have to take care of yourself. You have to give yourself some time to rejuvenate. So I invite you to revel in your rejuvenation. And as you do the work to change your direction, to shift, to move forward, to keep moving forward, that is a time for rejoicing. I invite you to rejoice in your rejuvenation and step proudly, strongly, and willingly into your who-you-are-ness. That's right, your who-you-are-ness. And be mindful. To be mindful is to pay attention to your life in a particular way, in the present moment, on purpose, with curiosity, and without judgment. Be mindful. Breathe. Breathing is your life. That's when your mind is clear, your body is centered, and you can be your best you. It's your girl, Shawn LaRae. And I invite you all to reach out to me and find me in any of these places, because I am here for you. I want you to know that your success is what you make it, how you make it, and when you make it. So I invite you to persist. You know, there was a part of a political campaign, I think it was Elizabeth Warren, and what they talked about during Women's History Month last year in 2019, before we got to 2020 and everything went a little bit topsy-turvy. Nevertheless, she persisted. I invite you to purposefully persist. It's your girl, Shawn LaRae. And meanwhile, live love.